What if I told you that some of the most respected Jewish rabbis in history secretly believed in Jesus? They spent their lives studying the Torah, mastering the Talmud, and leading their communities. Yet, behind closed doors, some of them saw something in the scriptures that changed everything. For centuries, their names were whispered in secret, their discoveries were ignored or even suppressed. Why? What did they find that made them risk everything? Well, that is what we will find out in this video. This is the story of 5 Jewish rabbis who secretly believed in Jesus. Prepare your mind, because what you are about to hear will leave you shocked. Number 1. Rabbi Leopold Cohn. Rabbi Leopold Cohn was a man devoted to the truth. Born in Hungary in 1862, he spent his entire life searching for the Messiah. As a respected rabbi, he pored over the Talmud, studied ancient prophecies, and taught his people with conviction. But one day, everything changed. While studying the scriptures, he stumbled upon a passage that shook him to his core, Daniel 9 verse 24 to 26. It clearly stated that the Messiah had to come before the destruction of the Second Temple. But the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. That could only mean one thing. The Messiah had already come. This realization sent him on a desperate search for answers. If the Messiah had already arrived, who was he? Determined to uncover the truth, Cohn left everything behind and traveled to New York. There, he secretly attended Christian lectures, hoping to find an explanation. And then it happened. He encountered Jesus, not as an enemy of the Jewish people, but as the fulfillment of everything he had been searching for. Reflecting on this life-changing discovery, Cohn later admitted, "I had been teaching my people without knowing the truth myself." But accepting Jesus came at a terrible cost. His Jewish community turned against him. He lost his reputation, his status, and his sense of belonging. Yet, he knew he couldn't turn back. The truth was too powerful. Number 2. Rabbi Daniel Zion. Rabbi Daniel Zion was not just a scholar. He was a leader, a man revered by his people. As the chief rabbi of Bulgaria during World War II, his voice carried weight. His guidance shaped lives. But behind the scenes, something extraordinary was happening. He claimed he had visions, mysterious, undeniable encounters with Jesus himself. In these visions, Jesus warned him of the storm that was coming, the rise of Hitler, the danger facing the Jewish people. And Rabbi Zion listened. With courage and conviction, he used his influence to resist the Nazis. He rallied Bulgaria's leaders, urging them to protect the Jewish community. And against all odds, Bulgaria became one of the only countries in Europe where the vast majority of Jews survived the Holocaust. But here's where the story takes a shocking turn. Even after the war, even after moving to Israel, Rabbi Daniel Zion never abandoned his belief. He continued to follow Jewish traditions, yet in his heart, he held on to the one truth he couldn't deny, that Jesus was the Messiah. He once wrote, "Yeshua is the Messiah of Israel, and his spirit has guided me." This wasn't just an academic discovery, it was a revelation, a conviction so strong that even as a chief rabbi, he refused to let it go. But why? Why would such a respected Jewish leader hold on to this belief, even when it meant standing alone? Was it truly a divine vision, or something more? Number 3. Rabbi Max Wertheimer. Rabbi Max Wertheimer was a scholar, a man of deep intellect, trained in the rigorous study of the Talmud from a young age. Born in Germany, he was immersed in Jewish tradition, mastering the sacred texts that had guided his people for generations. But his journey would take an unexpected turn. After immigrating to the United States, Wertheimer found himself in theological debates with Christian scholars. Confident in his knowledge, he set out to disprove their claims. But the more he argued, the more something unsettling happened. The Old Testament kept aligning with Jesus. Could it be? Had he missed something all these years? Determined to uncover the truth, Wertheimer did something unthinkable for a respected rabbi. He secretly studied the New Testament. What he found shattered every assumption he had. Page after page, prophecy after prophecy, he saw Jesus everywhere. He wasn't a foreign figure. He wasn't a threat to Judaism. He was the fulfillment of everything Wertheimer had spent his life studying. In one of his writings, he confessed, "The Jesus of the New Testament was the fulfillment of everything I had studied." It was undeniable. He could no longer debate against Jesus because the evidence was overwhelming. Wertheimer made a radical decision. He left Judaism as he had known it and became a Christian pastor. Instead of debating Jesus, he began preaching him. The rabbi who once sought to disprove Christianity now dedicated his life to spreading the gospel. Imagine that. Imagine spending years mastering the Talmud, only to realize it pointed to Jesus. What would you do? Number 4. Rabbi Isaac Lichtenstein. Rabbi Isaac Lichtenstein never intended to read the New Testament. In fact, he despised it. Like many rabbis of his time, he believed it was a book filled with hatred against the Jewish people. But then, everything changed. One day, a student brought him a copy. Out of curiosity, he opened it, expecting to find attacks, insults, and blasphemy. Instead, what he found stunned him. Page after page, he read words of kindness, wisdom, and unmistakable Jewish truth. It wasn't a foreign book at all. It was deeply, undeniably Jewish. He later wrote, "The New Testament is a book full of Jewish light and love." But Lichtenstein was no fool. He knew what would happen if he spoke out. He had seen other rabbis who even questioned tradition get cast out, shunned, erased. So he kept his belief a secret. For years, he led prayers, taught Torah, and stood before his congregation, all while quietly believing that Jesus was the Messiah. It was a double life, a hidden faith, an underground revelation. But secrets don't stay buried forever. Eventually, Lichtenstein could no longer stay silent. He finally admitted his belief in Jesus, but he refused to leave his position as a rabbi. He didn't see himself as a traitor. He saw himself as a Jew who had found the truth. Now ask yourself, why would a respected rabbi secretly believe in Jesus for decades without telling anyone? What was he so afraid of? Number 5. Rabbi Yitzhak Kaduri. Now this one is very controversial. Rabbi Yitzhak Kaduri was no ordinary rabbi. He was a legend in Israel, one of the most venerated Jewish mystics of the modern era. Tens of thousands sought his wisdom, believing he had a special connection to God. But in the final years of his life, Kaduri carried a secret so explosive that it would shake Israel to its core. Before his death in 2006, Kaduri told his followers that he had discovered the name of the Messiah. He wrote it down on a piece of paper and gave one instruction: "Do not open this letter until 1 year after my death." When the sealed note was finally revealed, it contained just a few simple words. A name: Yehoshua, Jesus. The shock was immediate. His followers were stunned. Jewish authorities quickly dismissed it. Some claimed the note was a forgery. Others said Kaduri had been manipulated. But one thing was certain: the rabbi's final message was not what anyone expected. The note was quietly suppressed, buried under controversy. But for those who had followed Kaduri's teachings, the question remained: had their revered rabbi truly uncovered the greatest truth of all? Or had he made a terrible mistake? That's a question I can't answer, and here is the final question. What did these rabbis see that others missed? Rabbi Leopold Cohn saw that the Messiah had to come before the destruction of the Second Temple. Rabbi Daniel Zion claimed that Jesus appeared to him in visions, guiding him to save Jewish lives. Rabbi Max Wertheimer found Jesus hidden in the very scriptures he had studied his entire life. Rabbi Isaac Lichtenstein read the New Testament and discovered that it wasn't a book of hatred, but a book of Jewish truth. And Rabbi Yitzhak Kaduri, one of Israel's most revered mystics, left a final message that the Messiah's name is Jesus. But here's the strangest part. Some say there are rabbis today who still keep this secret. Hidden believers, afraid to speak out. Could it be true? And if so, why haven't you heard about them? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if this video opened your eyes to something new, don't forget to like and subscribe to Christian Chronicles.